Dear child, this is a spiritual reflection, not a prediction. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. You are not here by accident. Even if your mind says this was random, your heart knows better. There are moments when something inside you slows down and quietly says, "This matters." This is one of those moments. Nothing is being forced on you here. Nothing is being demanded of you. This message is meant to bring understanding, softness, and truth to what you've already been feeling, but may not have been able to explain. For a long time, there has been movement happening beneath the surface. Quiet movement, emotional movement, spiritual movement. You may have felt it as sudden thoughts, unexplained emotions, waves of longing, or moments where their presence felt close, even though nothing was happening outwardly. You may have questioned yourself. You may have wondered if you were imagining things. But sometimes the soul senses shifts before life shows proof. What is coming to light now is simple but powerful. Your soulmate finally admitted the truth out loud, not just to themselves, not just in a fleeting thought. They spoke it. They said your name. They told someone they trust what they have been feeling, and saying it out loud changed everything for them. They have been carrying this inside for much longer than you know. There were days they tried to act normal, days they distracted themselves with work, routines, other people, or noise, days they told themselves wasn't that serious, that it would fade, that they would move on. But every time they tried to walk away from the feeling, it followed them. Every time they tried to shut the door, the memory of you knocked again. What they feel is not shallow. It is not casual. It is not based on convenience or loneliness. It feels personal. It feels deep. It feels like something their spirit recognizes, even if their mind doesn't know how to label it. And that is why they struggled, because this connection did not fit neatly into logic. It reached parts of them they weren't prepared to open. When they finally confessed it, it didn't come out clean or confident. It came out shaky, emotional, honest. It may have sounded like, "I think I'm in love with them," or "I can't stop thinking about them," or "This feels different and it scares me." Fear showed up because love showed up. Fear does not always mean doubt. Sometimes fear appears when something matters deeply, when someone realizes they could lose something important. The distance hurt them more than they ever admitted, even if they looked calm, even if they acted detached, even if they stayed silent. The truth is, the silence weighed on them. The separation sat heavy in their chest. They missed you in a way that did not feel casual. It felt like missing peace, like missing home, like missing something that was meant to be there. At some point, something inside them broke open. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe it was a song. Maybe it was a quiet moment alone. Maybe it was prayer. Maybe it was seeing something that reminded them of you. But the realization came clearly. If they keep delaying, they could lose you. And that thought shook them, because they realized that staying silent hurts more than telling the truth. So they told someone, and that moment mattered, because when truth leaves the heart and enters the world through words, it creates movement. Confession is not just emotional release. It is a turning point. It forces the soul to face reality instead of hiding behind fear. This is why you may be feeling shifts inside yourself. You might feel emotional without knowing why. You might feel restless at night, You might suddenly think of them more strongly. You might feel a mix of hope and heaviness at the same time. Sometimes the heart senses movement before life catches up. They did not suddenly change overnight. This has been building. They were resisting, overthinking, trying to stay in control, avoiding vulnerability. Love requires humility, honesty, and risk, and that can terrify someone who is used to protecting themselves. Sometimes people run not because they don't love, but because they don't trust themselves with something sacred. Now, they are starting to admit their regret, not to punish themselves, but because regret wakes people up. They are realizing they didn't handle this well, that they delayed, that they pushed it away, and that awareness is changing them. They keep thinking about what drew them to you, not surface things, not appearances, but your presence, your kindness, your calm, the way you show up without performing, the way you stayed soft even after being hurt, the way your strength doesn't need to be loud, the way your energy feels like peace. They may have said to someone, "There's something about them I can't explain," and deep down, they already know what it is. It's recognition. They have been seeing reminders too, dreams that feel too clear, songs that hit too close, repeating thoughts, moments where they suddenly feel you, even without labeling it as spiritual. This is what happens when a heart is truly attached. It keeps returning to what it values. They may be writing about you, replaying conversations, drafting messages they haven't sent yet, practicing words in their head, asking God for courage, asking for the right timing. This is not someone who doesn't care. This is someone who is finally letting peace breathe instead of fear. And you have a role in this too, but not the role of chasing, proving, or waiting in pain. Your role is to stay grounded, to stay clear, to stay wise, because if they come back with truth, you deserve to receive it from a place of strength, not confusion. You may feel relief and fear at the same time. Relief because you always sensed something was there. Fear because you remember the silence and how it hurt. Both feelings are valid, and it's important to remember this. Confession opens the door, but consistency is what keeps it open. Words matter, but actions matter more. You are allowed to hope, but you are also allowed to protect your heart. You are allowed to forgive, but you are also allowed to have boundaries. You are allowed to love deeply without losing yourself. You were not imagining the connection. You were not foolish for feeling it. You were not weak for waiting, and you were never forgotten. If this person is meant to be part of your life, truth will keep moving things forward with clarity and healing. If they are not meant to stay, truth will still free you from confusion. Either way, truth brings peace. So breathe. Let your heart settle. Let the emotions move through you instead of fighting them. You have carried questions long enough. Now something real is being spoken. And when truth is spoken, life begins to move again. They're not just emotional anymore. And this isn't about temporary regret. This is repentance. This is them finally standing honestly before God and admitting, I was wrong. I didn't handle this right. I didn't honor what was given to me. They are asking for help not just to feel better, but to be better. And that matters because heaven responds to sincerity, not excuses. A heart that breaks open in truth is not rejected by God. It's received. It's handled gently. It's reshaped. God doesn't ignore that kind of humility. He uses it. What you need to understand is that God has not dismissed their repentance. He hasn't turned away from their tears or their confession. Instead, He's redeeming it. He's restoring what was damaged. He's taking what looked like failure and using it as the foundation for something new. Not because everything that happened was right, but because truth has finally entered the picture, and truth changes everything. You are not waiting for nothing. You are not stalled or forgotten. You are not behind in life. Waiting does not always mean delay. Sometimes it means protection. Sometimes it means God is holding you steady until the other side is ready to meet you in health instead of chaos. You may feel like time has passed and nothing has happened, but in reality, you are being positioned for a moment, a conversation, an encounter that shifts your entire direction, one that answers questions you couldn't resolve on your own. That truth they've been holding back is moving toward you. It won't stay buried. It might arrive quietly through a message, a call, a sudden meeting, or a moment you didn't plan. And when it happens, your heart will recognize it. You'll remember this season. You'll remember how much you prayed, how much you endured, how many times you chose faith over panic, and you'll understand why it couldn't come sooner. They are not coming back for comfort or nostalgia. They are not looking for a temporary connection or a shallow reconciliation. What they want now is permanence, stability, something they can stand on without fear. They've already admitted it, even if not to you yet, that they want a future with you. They see now what they couldn't see before. This isn't about romance alone anymore. It's about responsibility. It's about covenant, not chemistry. It's about alignment, not emotion. This is why it feels different. This isn't just a return. It's a revelation. They are realizing that what they walked away from wasn't ordinary. It wasn't replaceable. It wasn't something they could recreate somewhere else. They didn't leave because they didn't love you. They left because love exposed parts of them they hadn't healed. Love required a version of themselves they hadn't become yet, and instead of rising to it, they ran. God has been working on the deeper layers, not just the surface outcome. He's been healing timelines, futures, inner patterns, and cycles. He's restoring what fear blocked, what pride buried, what delay tried to steal. And that restoration began the moment they told the truth. Because when truth is spoken, it creates movement. It refuses to stay still. It keeps pressing on the heart until action follows. You are not meant to chase this. You are not meant to convince anyone of your value. You are not meant to lower yourself to be chosen. What's happening now is recognition. They are waking up to your worth, your impact, the role you played in their life. They see now that you were not random. You were placed. You were purposeful. You were used by God to wake something up in them. And they are grateful. Grateful you didn't beg. Grateful you didn't force. Grateful you let them face themselves. Grateful you kept your dignity. Grateful you prayed quietly instead of reacting loudly. Those prayers mattered. The prayers you whispered when you were tired. The prayers you prayed through tears. The prayers you prayed when you didn't even know what you were asking for anymore. Heaven heard every one. You are about to see the result of what you sowed in faith. Every tear, every moment of restraint, every time you stayed soft without becoming weak, every time you trusted God instead of your fear. Fruit is coming from that season. Proof is coming from the pain. They have already admitted the truth out loud, that they still love you, that they never truly stopped. They tried to move on. They tried distractions. They tried silence. None of it worked, because what was real didn't disappear. It only grew louder. And now they're ready to face it instead of running from it. They want to tell you everything now. The fears they hid, the insecurity that made them feel unworthy, the confusion that led them to make the wrong choice. They want to say, I thought I could live without you, but nothing felt right. I've changed. I'm not the same person anymore. And that matters, because what you prayed for wasn't just their return. It was their growth. This is not about repeating the past. It's about meeting a healed version of what once broke. You are not asking for too much. You are not unreasonable. Wanting honesty, consistency, and emotional safety is not excessive. It's healthy. It's mature. It's necessary. They are preparing to open up in ways they never have before. And when they speak, you'll feel peace, not confusion, not anxiety. Truth brings calm. Even when it's emotional, you won't need to decode their words. You won't need to guess. Their sincerity will be clear. They've been tested by distance, time, distractions, and fear. But what was real endured. If something is from God, it doesn't die in silence. It matures there. It strengthens there. That's why you don't need to panic in the quiet. Quiet doesn't mean nothing is happening. Quiet often means preparation. You are not meant to accept what is unhealthy. You are meant to recognize what is healed. Restoration doesn't look like repeating old cycles. It looks like meeting familiar in a completely different medium. Different awareness, different effort, different heart aspect. They are nervous, yes. Afraid, yes, but serious. They don't want to lose you again. They don't want another year of regret. They want to build with intention, honesty, and respect. They are choosing truth over pride now, clarity over avoidance, courage over fear. So if things feel still, don't assume they're stagnant. Stillness can mean alignment. And when this reaches you, it won't feel heavy. It will feel peaceful. That peace is your confirmation, not excitement, not adrenaline, not chaos. Peace. Stay ready, but not restless. Ready in calm, ready in wisdom, ready in self-respect. Because what's coming should meet you healed, not reopen wounds. And when truth arrives, you'll recognize it without effort. Let truth find you. Let peace guide you. Let what is healed return in a healed way. You were never waiting for nothing. You were waiting for this.